officers, I'm told there are things that you can't change in the books once they have been published, unless correction is done in the subsequent financial year. So if you see our responses, probably that's why our auditor was saying there is no loss of funds, but the way figures have been captured, they were captured wrongly. And I don't want to defend my officers. They should have done it right because they have been trained to do that.
No, we'll have to test some of those inaccuracies for us to confirm whether this is just a bookkeeping problem or there is something bigger underlying it. Senator Wambua.
Chair, my only concern then would be if the governor, and he has gone on record saying that he was involved from beginning to the end, so he is not confronting these statements now. He's seen them. And he's saying he will scrutinize, and if he finds that somebody did not do the right thing, he will take administrative action. I'm wondering, if he was speaking in good faith, he would be telling you, Chair, and this committee, that we went through this, and I realized that on inaccuracy number 5, employee name XYZ was responsible for this, and this is the administrative action that I have taken. Because he's not seeing these documents for the first time.
Yeah, so let's test one or two of these inaccuracies. Let's look at inaccuracy of employee costs. Something where there should never be an inaccuracy. You are paying through the payroll, and the figures in the payroll should tie with the figures in your financial statements. So, Auditor, can you read your finding on employee costs?
Thank you, Chair. Inaccuracy of employee costs. The statement of financial performance, and as disclosed in Note 7, the financial statements, reflects employee costs amounting to 3,500,681,042 shillings. However, review of the payroll revealed employee costs totaling 3,515,184,562 shillings, resulting in an unexplained variance of 14,503,520. Monthly payroll reconciliations against payroll by products to validate the amounts and the number of staff paid were not carried out in the Human Resource Information System. In the circumstance, the accuracy and completeness of the employee costs amounting to 3.5 billion could not be confirmed. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, what's your response?
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Chair, the amounts reported in the Statement of Financial Performance has now been justified by reconciliation of payroll data and payments made as per the notes to the financial statement. A reconciliation of payroll data and the schedule has been carried out and has been filed for audit verification, and this is annexed as Annex 221, that is payroll, ledgers, and reconciliation.
Auditor General, you've looked at that Annex 2.1. As you said, we are not doing the audit today. We are just doing verification.
Yes, Chair.
What is your opinion?
Chair, we've looked at it, and the management didn't amend the financial statements because they could not, so as to address the variance raised.
So what is the true cost? And
there were no monthly payroll reconciliations against payroll by products available for verification. So it's still an ongoing work.
What is the true employee cost? You've reported 3.500, but your payroll indicates 3.515. What is the true cost?
Chair, let me request my CC Finance to respond to that.
Thank you, Chair. The true cost of the employee payments is 3.500,681,041 and 54 cents.
But your payroll indicates 3.515. The payroll should be the source of truth.
That is the reconciled figure. It is 3.500.
How did you go back to reconcile the payroll?
We have the the annexes, the schedules.
Auditor General, can you help us understand how that works? Because I believe that the payroll is the primary source of data, which should not be altered. You can alter the financials, but not the payroll. Auditor General, what's the assurance here?
Honorable Chair, what you are saying is the truth. That is the true position. The payroll, the compensation of employees can only be derived from the payroll. And in this case, the payrolls for the period that is under review, July 1st, 2024 to 30th June 2025, clearly indicated, and we broke down the figures to the management of the county, 3,515 million.
So
we still
see what other magic is this? You know, Sifuna will start telling you about the numbers that come from polling stations and the numbers that arrive at Bomas.
Chair, let me allow
The polling station numbers is what must apply, and the polling station in this case is a payroll. The numbers can't change at the financial statement. Senator Chirake, as they...
Maybe, Governor, where is, you say, you insist that your payroll is 3.5 billion, but after the audit was 3.515184562. Are there people that are paid outside the IPPD? Maybe through impress that is not on the payroll. Number one. Number two, on this variance, because 3.5 and 3.50 and 3.515, the variance of 14.5 million that has been indicated by the OAG, does it point, or let me just ask a basic question. How many employees do you have in your payroll? And I've seen, maybe Chair will go to that, I've seen it's 48% of the wage bill. How many are in the payroll, the employees? And then explain that clarity, whether there are people who are paid outside the IPPD, maybe through impressed, or what is this variance is bringing about. I yield back.
Senator Wambua?
Chair, maybe if this can be made clearer to the committee, are we talking about the same payroll here? Did the Office of the Auditor General review the same document that you reviewed, Governor? Or perhaps you looked at a different document? Because, Chair, I mean, if we are looking at the same document, I don't see how they arrive at two different figures. I mean, unless there are two payrolls, how do you look at one document, get 3,500 million, and then another person looking at the same document gets 3,515? Do we have two payrolls in Bomet?
Governor? There are the questions asked by Senator Chirage and Senator Wambua, but what we must agree on is what number, what is our working number?
Now I have my CEO Finance and CEO Public Service. They're able to clarify on the numbers. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. The reconciled figure is 3.5. That is the true figure. If you check next Chair, 2.1. 2.1 in our annexures. There is a reconciliation provided to yes, to correct
so Chief Officer, tell us how you reconcile a payroll. If in the payroll you spend 3.515, how do you reconcile it? Does it mean that some employees refund the 15 million in question?
Chair, we have provided the payroll product that indicates 3.290. In addition, we have supported with the ledgers that also indicates the salary arrears that was paid you look at the annexure number 2.1, there were also accrued deductions. That is the reconciliation. That makes now the 3.5.
Why wasn't this done when the auditor was looking at these books? Because I've made it clear we are not doing the audit today. The audit is already done. Why wasn't this reconciliation done at that point in time? What is this new information that you received after the audit?
Chair, we have noted inaccuracy, and this can only be corrected on this reconciliation in the next subsequent reporting.
No, it's not about the next period, because you are insisting that the 3.500 in the financial statement is correct. So there's nothing to correct in the financial statement. Are we, Meshach, what is there for them to correct in the financial statements if they insist that it was 3.500?
They've not yet satisfied us in explaining how it was 3.500 and not 3.515, because even if there were those arrears in the previous financial year, they were using cash basis of accounting. So even if there were arrears within the financial year, it would still feature within this as a cost for this particular year.
So, Professor, on a scale of 1 to 10, you have been a teacher. How many marks would you give your finance team on this?
Around 7.
Thank God I was not your student. Thank God I was not your student, because you'll have half-baked graduates. You can't give them 7 on this. Can't exceed 2. In fact, it's 0. It's actually 0 out of 10. Now, let's look at another one where there's an inaccuracy. I know you have not addressed the questions raised by Senator Chirarke.
Before we leave that,
Senator Dulu?
now that according to the county, they are actually rejecting the position of OAG, that the figure is 3.500. And the auditors are saying the figures according to their finding is 3.515. Can we say that OAG, we cannot account for this variance? Because we have to look at that also, even if it means that their payroll is 3.500. Can we say there is a loss or an accountability of 14.5?
Well, we just saw it as an attempt to understate the costs, the employee costs, because the amount was actually part of the payroll. The amount was actually part of the payroll, and we've not been told specifically that there was an error in this particular amount and it was refunded. You see, if that was the case...
You are not answering my question. Is there any loss as far as these issues are concerned? Because they are not agreeing with your query. Yeah? So what is the position of the 14.5 million that is in the query?
We don't see a loss in it, Chair.
Well, but if numbers cannot be reconciled, then you cannot make that conclusion. I think it is upon us to, as Senate, to make a conclusion and a recommendation. Patrick?
Chairman, please allow me to say that the reconciliation that was expected by the auditor will have been one that reconciles the figure of 3.5 million and the 3.500681 by the entity, not the one that is trying to justify the figure that is shown in the financial statement. So in this case, then, the response by the client does not answer the question. Because the 14.5 million that is asked by the Honorable Senator brings into doubt how the entity has accounted for the amount.
Exactly.
We are not able really to determine who was paid this amount of money. Yes, it's there in the payroll, but if they are trying to account for 3.500681, then who was paid the 14.5 million? I think that's the reconciliation that ought to have come into this explanation.
Chair, what the entity is trying to do, and I am not here to cast aspersions on the OAG, but I have my own issues with that. But Chair, what the entity is trying to do, they are setting their own question and answering, giving their own answer. The query.
No wonder they're giving themselves
7%.
Crazy marks.
Yes.
Because it's.
I mean, really, because the query is a variance of 14 million Kenya shillings. But instead of dealing with that variance, they are going back to their figure and trying to justify it. It doesn't work like that, Chair. I know that people have challenges with mathematics, but this is a simple one.
I heard the OAG at some point that says, although I didn't get it right, Meshach, that the entity amended the financial statement, because when you look at note number 10 on employees' costs, it was 3.5 billion Kenya shillings. And then now, during the audit, you found 3.515. This variance of 14.5 million, where does it arise? Because I've looked at the annexures, Chair, looking at payroll of 3.2 billion, salary arrears of 63 million, accrued deductions of 31.3 million, gratuity of 59.6 million, wages for temporary employees 119.08 million. Cumulatively, it comes to 3.5 billion. Governor, without casting aspersions, could there, and I want to repeat my question, could there be people that are paid through Impress or outside the IPPD, or people who are ghost workers? Could this point to a problem of ghost workers? Are there ghost workers that are taking more than 14.5 million, this variance? Because if it is somewhere in your books, it looks like there are people who are busy fixing things that can only be seen during the audit. And maybe finally, Chair, Governor, during the management letter, were these issues flagged? Because you have indicated you are in the exit, entry, and management meeting during the year under review. Was this captured in your management letter by the OAG? Chair, those will be my two questions.
Governor?
Thank you, Chair. And maybe starting with Senator Cherargei, all these issues were captured. And I want to agree with Senator Wambua that we have not done very well in terms of our response, because we should have actually narrowed down to the 14 million variance and explain how it occurred. So, Chair, I want to request maybe be given time, let me narrow down to this 14 million and explain, including what Senator Cherargei has asked, whether there are people who are paid outside the IBBT system.
Unfortunately, we don't have that time. If makosa imefanyika, we are going to make our recommendations, and very, very heavy recommendations. Now, let's before we close this, so that we tie all the financial reporting issues together, just look at the next issue: inaccuracy of transfers to other government entities. 52, you are indicating that you sent 52.5 million to the bursary fund, but the bursary fund received 65 million. Isn't that the case, Auditor General?
That's the case, Chair.
So how does that happen, Governor?
Honorable Chair, the observation on the transfers to Bomet County Bursary Fund has been noted by the management. The observation noted resulted from recognition of a receivable in the Bomet Bursary Fund financial year statement of Kenya shillings 12,500,000 by the end of the financial year. The transfer were paid after the close of the reporting period, and since they were from non-exchange transactions, the amount could not be recognized as payable in the county executive financial statements. Further, the expenditure returns from the health facilities have been availed for audit verification. Copies have been attached as Annex 2.2.
Auditor General, they are explaining that it's a timing difference. Does that make sense?
Chair, it doesn't make sense. Supporting documents have not been provided for this.
Governor, what is Annex 2.2 supposed to explain? Because I see you're referring to Annex 2.2, which relates to health facilities. Okay, so there are two legs to, sorry, let's first deal with the bursary. Where's the evidence to support your explanation on the transfer to the bursary fund?
Let me request my CC Education and CEO to respond to that.
You see, it does not require very long explanation. You have already stated here that it was timing differences, so we just want to see that evidence.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Chair. The variance whereby we have 12.5 million that was paid. We are sorry that we have not attached the annexes, but it was paid when the financial year had been closed, and that is why it could not be reflected on that statement. So otherwise, we have not attached the annex, but the annex is there.
So yes, if the two funds are both on accrual basis, if you're saying that the transfer was made after the year had been closed, why would it then be received by the other fund in that financial year? Shouldn't it then have waited for the proper year for it to be accounted for?
Okay, it was actually the budgeted amount because it was supposed to be actually given out for the students. This is whereby it is reflecting that was being paid for the term 3, whereby already the financial year had been closed.
Auditor, please guide me if I'm wrong. Because if they are saying the money was sent when the financial year closed, so that's why it's not in the executive as an outward transfer, why then would it be reflected in the fund for that year?
If the money had been budgeted to be submitted during the financial year under the accruals basis of financial reporting, the amount should have featured with the financial statements, but the actual cash transfer would be done later, as she's saying. But the accrual of it, that a decision had been passed that this amount be transferred, would have been part of the financial statements.
So let's speak English, guys. Let's speak English. And let's not confuse the people of Bomet with accounting speak. What leaves the executive is expected to be what is received in the other fund. And if it is not, there needs to be an explanation that makes sense. Senator Wabua.
Yeah, you know, Chair, I'm of you saying we speak English, and let me try. So there is a variance here again, right? What you have dispatched is not exactly what is received at the other end. And then your response, you refer us to Annex 2.2, right? That's your response. I mean, these are your documents, right? So we go to 2.2, and what we find there are health facilities returns. There is nothing on bursary or anything. So what are we supposed to do? Listen to stories? Or what? Try to make sense out of this?
Sure, there were two parts of that. Annex 2.2 is for health because there are two queries within one.
Yeah, so
one on bursary
where is the
health.
annex that deals with
the one for bursary? I've noted is missing. Chair, that one is missing from this annex, Chair.
Because we are doing this exercise not to sanitize anything. We are not, these issues, they remain as reported by the Auditor General. But we must demonstrate to you the kind of problems that you're walking around with. in terms of financial management. Actually, now this is financial mismanagement, not financial management. Honorable members, even if we go to trade, let's go to pending bills. Let's test pending bills. Inadequate disclosure of trade and other payables. Auditor, what was your observation?
Thank you, Chair. Paragraph 6, inadequate disclosure of trade and other payables. The statement of financial position reflects trade and other payables totaling 1,538,084,971 shillings. The amount includes trade payables totaling 1,196,952,551 shillings, as disclosed in Note 16 to the financial statements. However, the aging analysis of the payables was not provided or disclosed in the financial statements, contrary to the requirements of the prescribed financial reporting template. In the circumstance, the presentation of the trade and other payables totaling 1.1 billion have not been prepared as per the template prescribed by the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board. Thank you, Chair.
Governor.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Chair, the anomaly has been noted by the management and the necessary aging analysis of the payables has been prepared and provided for the verification attached as Annex 2.4. I further directed the officers to provide a detailed disclosure on trade payables in the current financial year 2025-2026 under comparative period as guided by the Public Sector Accounting Standards Board.
Auditor General. Auditor General, give us your...
Chair, the management provided aging analysis of the trade payables for audit verification, but the disclosures in the financial statements were not made.
Now, I'm trying to look for Annex 2.4. Members, you have seen the Annex 2.4? I'm seeing 2.3. Senator Chirati, have you seen that Annex 2.4?
But yeah, it is different because when you look at the original certificate of the OAG, the aging analysis is negative. It's not indicated. But on this one, aging analysis is provided.
So what is these employee payables of 341 million?
CC, Finance.
going through this report, and we have taken a view on a number of issues which we will not repeat. Governor, the audit has already been done. What we are dealing with is a report akin to an X-ray report or a CT scan. Now we are the doctors to prescribe medication or to prescribe treatment. So we shall not be doing an audit today. We shall just be considering what the auditor, the guy who did the X-ray, we will just be looking at the X-ray results and deciding whether to take you for surgery or to give you an injection or to give you tablets or to give you bed rest. So that's our job today. And if we took that approach, then it could be possible that this meeting can run up to 2 o'clock. We are changing the way we are doing things. We are not going to reopen audit issues, things that have already been established by the Auditor General. We made 3 broad observations about Bomet County. There are 3 things you are doing very badly. 1, financial reporting. 2, human resource management. And 3, revenue collection. Those 3 things you are doing very badly. This report has got 10 issues to do with inaccuracies in financial statements. It has 10 issues to do, actually more than 10 issues, to do with weaknesses in human resource management. And then the receiver of revenue statement has got so many issues relating to systems that are not working, revenue streams that are underperforming. The revenue of Bomet seems to be coming from hospitals and not from productive activities. So I think, broadly speaking, we want to take a global view on those 3 issues. On financial reporting, Auditor General, there are so many inaccuracies in financial statements. These inaccuracies, do they point to loss of funds or they point to professional negligence?
They don't point to loss of funds, Chair.
So if you have 2 pages of inaccuracies, what should the people of Bomet make out of it? Because we must speak a language that the people understand.
Yes.
Unsupported opening balances, inaccuracy of employee costs, inaccuracy of transfers, inaccuracies of receivables, inaccuracy of property, plant and equipment, inadequate disclosure of trade payables, inaccuracy of net assets, inaccuracies in statement of cash flows, inaccuracies in statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts. To that person in Bomet, what is the implication of these inaccuracies? Please help us. You're the one, interpret for us the X-ray results.
It just requires the person who prepares the financial statements to be more responsible and ensure that the balances agree with the schedules and the ledger available.
Chair.
Senator Cheraki?
Chair, I think, Meshach, while you are the prosecutor, anyway, we'll take to you to task in camera. Maybe my concern on financial reporting, Governor, is the people who are professionals. And I've had a number of them who are CPA head of accounts and others are accountants. You know, when you notice inaccuracies, these are some of the basic errors that even a first-year accounting class student cannot commit. So the question is, do your officers have capacity to do their job, or they have capacity but they don't want to do it, which will become a dereliction of duty? And if they derelict the duty, Governor, then we'll invite the ISPAC to cite them for professional misconduct, because these inaccuracies, Governor, if through the chair, if it had been resolved at the point of audit, we would not be, you have a number of them, I think more than 8, which indicate inaccuracies that this certificate of the OAG report has indicated to. So my only concern is through the chair, maybe later we'll put it to the Governor, whether the officers who are supposed to be doing this job have the capacity and ability. If they have, yes, then they are derelicting their duty. Then the committee should pronounce consequences as you have directed.
Senator Wambua, you could go on record. We did the introductions.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Enoch Wambua, Senator, Kitui County, and a member of this committee. Chair, if you allow me, I'll just comment on that inaccuracy. I have just sat in and gone through, just perused through the document. There are too many inaccuracies, Chair. It can only point to one thing, maybe lack of capacity, or a deliberate attempt by people to do things not right. Because these inaccuracies cannot just be a coincidence. I thank you, Chair.
Governor, do you share our concern?
Chair, before
Senator
Governor,
Lulu.
sorry to take you back. Now, OAG, you have said this. Report is concerned. And if you clearly say there was no loss of fund, and yet evidences have not been presented to you to confirm that there was no loss of funds, what do you call it? Or how do you term that?
OAG?
Chair, I just talked of these inaccuracies only. I've not addressed the other parts of the report, just on the inaccuracies.
And the evidence is here before us. The accounting officer was required to establish, to appoint a project manager to lead and coordinate the transition. Who is a project manager who was appointed? Governor.
Sami Kirui.
Where is Sami?
His child was sick and he took the child to the hospital.
Was a committee established? A transition steering committee established?
Yes.
Who chairs that committee?
CC Finance.
CC Finance. So CC Finance, are you also a member of ISPAC?
Yes, I am.
What's your membership number?
25891.
And that also now places you in a position of professional responsibility.
Yes.
Because if you are, governors like appointing politicians as CC. Is the CEO also a member of ISPAC? Chief Officer?
Yes.
You're a member of ISPAC?
Yes.
So you also have a professional responsibility?
Yes.
Nyinyi wote WhatsApp group moja, tunawatuma kwa ISPAC. You must be, action must be taken. Because you cannot do financial statements with 10 inaccuracies and then blame it on the transition.
Chair, but Chief Officer did not indicate his ISPAC number in financial statements. I thought you are not. It was not indicated in financial statements. Bernard Koske is the only one who indicated his ISPAC number to be 6069.
I think he's the one who's mandated to disclose his number. But I think from this interrogation, we have established that the CEO is a professional, the CECs are professional, and I think we must deal with it from that perspective. But that does not take away the fact that the Senate is not convinced that these resources were applied lawfully and prudently, and will make those recommendations.
So, now, Chair, I think, Governor, you have seen where people have capacity to do their job, but they are not doing it. So it goes back to my earlier observation on these inaccuracies, because if the Chief Officer and Director of Accounting Services were signing, it looks like the generators of this they were never keen on what was being done. So I think, Chair, I agree with you that let the ISPAC cite them for professional misconduct.
Do you have an audit committee?
We do, Chair.
Is the chair of your audit committee here?
No.
I had someone introduce themselves as internal auditor.
Yes.
Where is the internal auditor? That's the secretary to the audit committee, isn't it? Where is the internal auditor?
He's not here, Chair.
But I thought someone introduced themselves as internal auditor in this delegation. Did you come with them? Did you come with an internal auditor?
No, I didn't come with an internal auditor.
Please, next time you are coming for this exercise, make sure the chair of your audit committee is here and your internal auditor is here. Because we would like to ask them certain questions, why they've allowed or why they have presided over a situation where there are so many inaccuracies in financial reporting that we cannot tell whether the financial statements represent a true and fair picture of the entity. So we will, I think we'll make our recommendations appropriately.
Chair, maybe also, Governor, you have to note that one of the substantive audit queries is understaffing of the internal audit unit. So up to this time, maybe off the record, Governor, is now this issue resolved, the understaffing of internal audit unit? Is it now in place? Is it functional? Is there minutes to prove that they have been sitting and doing their job? Because if internal audit unit was functional, Governor, some of these issues would have not been escalated to the Senate. Maybe you can resolve.
Governor?
Chair, we had declared positions in that department and even advertised, but somebody went to court and stopped. But we have since cleared with a court case. But by the time we are clearing, the Public Service Board term had expired. And in the next 2 weeks, the Assembly will be able to clear because I have submitted names.
So you don't have an internal auditor?
No, we have an internal auditor by the name Penachiriot.
So the advertisement was for?
For extra staff, understaffing. That's what has been noted by the auditors, that that department was understaffed. So we wanted to add the numbers within that department, auditors.
Okay, let's take it one step further. You have mentioned the County Public Service Board. Do you have a functional County Public Service Board?
The one that we are having expired in the month of December, and we have advertised, and the new board will be submitted to the Assembly on Wednesday next week.
But they were in office for 6 years?
Yes.
Presiding over the mess, we have 4 pages. So we had 5 pages of financial mismanagement. We now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, 5 pages of human resource mismanagement. So that is the report form for the outgoing County Public Service Board. Is the HR director here?
Yes.
HR director, are you a member of the institute? So you also have a professional responsibility. The county secretary?
It's not here.
Why? I thought he's the head of the county public service and you have 5 pages of HR issues.
I think we have the CEO Public Service and the HR Director. I think they should be in a position to respond to the specific queries on the HR.
Do you have a county secretary?
We do.
And is in the county secretary the head of the county public service?
He is.
So what is the reason why the county secretary is not here?
There's no reason as to why he should not be here, but I thought...
Or he's not loyal?
He is chair. But I have the CEO Public Service and the HR Director who should be able to respond to the specific questions.
HR Director, why should we... Is there any reason why we should not cite you for professional negligence and malpractice? Because the issues that are in this report, irregular payment of salaries and personal allowances, irregular payment of special house allowance, irregular payment of extraneous allowance, irregular payment of special salaries, irregular payment of non-practicing allowance, overpayment of basic salary, irregular payment of responsibility allowance. Are these responsibilities of the HR director or these are responsibilities of someone else sitting in payroll?
Okay, it's true, Chair, that those are the responsibilities of Director HR.
So, did you see this report before you came to the Senate?
Yes, I did, sir.
What, are there any explanations to justify these irregularities?
Okay, Chair, I saw the report and I think my response as the Director HR is what I've indicated there. It's true that some of those allowances were actually not supposed to have been paid in the first place. And that's why we've taken corrective measures.
They were paid under your watch.
Okay, let me put it this way, that they were paid under the Director HR. At that time, I was not in the office. There was someone else.
When did you assume office?
I think I'm 2 to 3 months old in the office.
Because members, if we are going to go through these things, these irregularities, issue by issue, one by one, we'll be here up to 6 o'clock. We must just decide who carries the cross.
Yeah, maybe the governor can confirm. Who was the person in office at the material time? Is he still with the county?
No, he retired.
But out of curiosity, if he has retired, why didn't we go with some of the people? I can see you have 27 employees who consume 3.0 million, and they had achieved an age of 60 years, but was still appearing in the June 2025 payroll. Why didn't you send him? It is in audit query number 9, page 10. There were 27 employees who had attained the age of 60 and had not retired. It was still appearing in the payroll. Maybe Director of HR. What was the issue here? You had paid 3.0 million to 27 employees who are over 60. But the director retired. What was the issue here? Through the chair. That is page 10, audit number 9 of the OAG report.
Retention of staff?
No, retention of staff beyond mandatory retirement age.
Chair, all these conversations around the professionals in Bomet could be pointed to a problem with the hiring process. That it is clear that competence is not what informs how people end up in these offices. Because how is it possible that going through all these professionals, from the accountants to the HR professionals, they are making very basic professional mistakes? Who are these people, Governor? Where do you find them?
Chair, some of these people, the 27 that has been mentioned, include my Deputy Governor, include public service board members that had fixed contract. You could not terminate before the expiry of the 6 years. I have also my advisors, around 3-4 of them, who have also brought them when they were still, they were under 60.
What do those people do? What sort of advice do they render? Is it what is the dominant community in Bomet? Are they advising you on the local culture? What? I mean, why do you need Wazes to advise you?
A professor. And he's a professor.
Chair, I don't think we can describe Wazes to be useless.
Nobody has said that. We just want you to tell us what advice do those Wazes render?
It depends on their area, because we have legal advisor, economic advisor, and so forth. So there's line there.
Allow me.
Maybe, sorry, Bambua, can I come before you?
You go, yes.
Governor, I thought you are around 3 advisors as per the law, which they are above 60, the board. But the number is too huge, is 27.
Yes, Chair, I agree. Because when the payrolls were pulled out, there were around 11 or 14 ECD teachers that were not active. They are not earning any salary, but they were captured like they are earning salary. Out of the 27, I think we have around 14 of them.
So, how many remain? That is 16.
Yeah, and then so I have public service board members. I have my advisors, three of them.
And the deputy
governor? I have the deputy governor.
Okay.
Yes.
So you want to confirm to us that these three advisors are not advising you on the local culture. They're advising you on economy, on...
These are my advisors as advised by the SRC.
Okay. You know, we had a governor from Turkana who had advice to advise him on Turkana culture, yet he's a Turkana. So that clarity should come out very clear. I yield back, Chair.
Maybe they're advising him on how to be the kingpin.
But Professor Barachoka has never expressed he wants to be a kingpin. At least I know that for a fact.
Can you confirm that?
Maybe tomorrow, Chair, but...
Chair, just some clarification. This total amount that we are speaking about, because you said there's 5 pages of HR issues, I think we should not lose track of the figures that are involved. Correct. I don't know what the total comes to OAG, because I can see 48 million on irregular payment of salaries and personal allowances, 14 million on special house allowance, 2.4 million on irregular payment of extraneous allowance, special salaries 2.8 million. What is the total? Another 1.18 million on non-practicing allowance, uniform allowance 4.2 million, responsibility allowance 1.3 million. What is the total amount you are querying?
The total is that one in the first paragraph. That is 48 million 181 million 528 shillings.
That includes all these other ones that you have spoken to?
Yes, it covers all that.
Chair,
Chair.
Sorry.
Now, Governor, I don't know, Chair, you are talking about 5 pages. You know, I have 11. I don't know, maybe I look at the different documents.
11 on HR.
Yes, and I'm wondering that if you're going to even have a conversation, Governor, on HR issues, what conversation would that be? Would it be a conversation on what has gone wrong or whether there is anything that has gone right? Because surely from these documents here, everything in HR has gone wrong. Anything that could go wrong has gone wrong. From payment of salaries to payment of allowances, to house allowances, to recruitment, promotions, to non-practicing allowance, special salaries again, overpayment of basic salary, payment of responsibility allowance. I mean, everything, including recruitment of staff, everything has gone wrong in HR. And Governor, I have just consulted Senator Sifuna to be sure that you're actually serving your second term. So unlike your HR director who can hide under the phrase, "It wasn't me," the buck stops at your door. How could you preside over a county in such a mess? I mean, you have what, 1.5 years to live? Even if you are to give it your best, I don't see how you're going to correct all this. It means, Chair, from the look of things, that the HR in Bomet is completely in a mess. That's my submission.
Chair, in addition, Governor, this regular engagement of casual workers that was consuming 119 million and 081,002, maybe you can give us the number and who are these people, and whether now that we are questioning around the human resource issues within your county, is there a transition, Governor, to ensure, that will be my second question, to ensure that they are transited into permanent and pensionable? And if it is the municipality workers, have you given them the autonomy to hire maybe cleaners, people who do cleaning services within your municipalities, either in Bomet, Sotik, and many other urban centers? So these 119 million on casual workers, through the Chair, who are these people and what are they doing? And then, you know, there should be a career progression. Are you giving them PNP after some time, or they are just there? And finally, This county public service board that left office, you have seen there is a lot of mess. Were you working together? Because it looks like they decided, this county public service board that left, they decided to create a mess in your human resource. Were you working together, or they were doing their own thing to ensure they mess your county government? My two questions, Chair.
I think even before you respond, the 119 million on casual workers, this we must query. This one we must deal with. It cannot be sorted through a global, conversation, because the Auditor General says 119 million was incurred on casual wages. Payment to the casuals were made to the heads of departments on a monthly basis, but the payments were not accounted for by the departmental heads. This we must deal with. So Senator Chirage, yes, you brought it up, but I think this we must deal with and look at the evidence that is supplied. The other thing that we must deal with on this HR is on the treatment of ECD teachers. I think under HR, those are the two issues that we can drill down on. Then the rest, we shall just make the stiffest recommendations possible to clear the mess. So, would you want the governor to first respond, or we go to the two specific issues?
So maybe the governor can note so that I don't need to come back.
Okay, Chair, I know I wished he could just point me to just one aspect in HR that's working, just one. I mean, that would lighten my day.
Chair, thank you very much, and I've noted the concerns of the members, but I want to say, Chair, cleaning of payroll is a continuous exercise, and for the record, Chair, where we started was worse than this. So, from my own analysis and where I sit, as much as we are not 100%, there are a lot of improvements. Because, Chair, I will tell you, where there were post workers in my payroll, people who are being paid and they are not giving services to the people of Bomet. We have had around 3 major cleanups of our payrolls with the assistance of consultants. But still, there are still things that are still outstanding, which to me, from my own assessment and from where we started, Chair, I think we are almost there. Except for these small things that are still coming up, popping up. Even these special salaries. It is one thing that I thought we had cleared because it came from our interaction with the consultant that we had engaged and with the assistance of the Ministry of Public Service. We cleared quite a number. But still, Chair, as I've said, cleaning of payroll is a continuous. Even in Parliament, I want to believe that is the same story. National government, that is the same story. But we are committed to ensure that we have proper remuneration of our people. Everybody should be given his entitlement in terms of the packages that they are entitled to. And services are also given to our people, because we don't want to have people in our payroll that are drawing salaries and they are not giving services to our people. So, Chair, we are not 100%, but there is something that we have done about the same. There is something that we are doing today about the same. Even this audit is not about fault finding. It's one way of strengthening our systems. So this discovery has strengthened me to ensure that I have control on this HR. Otherwise, what we will be doing here will be not making any sense.
No,
so the reason why I'm seated before you, Chair, today is because I want to strengthen my HR, how I'm managing the finances and so forth, and be transparent and accountable to the resources that have been given.
Governor, the evidence on the paper is to the contrary. But now that you have cleared ghosts from your payroll, how many employees do you have?
Total numbers here? Public service board, public service.
Chair, good morning. My name is Paul Mutahi, Chief Officer Public Service. We have 3,700 employees currently.
And casuals?
Those are total.
Inclusive of casuals?
Yes, inclusive of casuals.
So who are the ones who are on a permanent basis? What's the number that's on permanent basis?
Should be about 3,600 something.
3,000?
We'll have to confirm.
600?
Yes.
In your staff establishment, what is the ideal number of employees that you should have?
We have been working with the help of KTSP on the ideal staff establishment because we realize what was there may not be ideal, and it will be there about 5,000 maximum, 5,600.
5,000? Your wage bill is already at 48%.
That's true.
So if you double the number of employees, everything that comes to Bomet will go to salaries.
Establishment before was over 10,000, so we are, in order to bring it down to around 5,000. It doesn't mean we'll fill all those positions.
Okay, let's come back to what's...
Chair, I'd like to make a comment as I go about the issue before you give your recommendations on the variances on the payroll. It is true that what we should take, and probably the AOG will agree with me, is that on the 3.5 billion in the financial statements against schedules of 3.515, what we should take, the correct one would be the schedule, the 3.515. So it will look like there's an error in some payments not finding its way to the financial statements or being reclassified in the financial statement to another caption. We would like to look at that. So Governor, it's not alarming because the schedule should be the most correct because it gives you item by item, name by name, who was paid, how much was paid. So if the schedule is summing up to 3.15 and the financial statement is 3.5, clearly the financial statements will not be correct. So we will sit down with the team in Treasury and do a quick.
I think you should be sitting on this side, not on that side, because you know what the problem is. Why didn't you advise the team preparing the responses to do the right thing?
Sorry, Chair. Sometimes we learn, and going forward, we will not find those glaring errors.
Yeah, because you have said exactly what we have said, yes. And that is advice that should have been put into practice as you are, bringing your responses to the Senate.
And lastly, Chair, on the several issues you have raised in regarding payments, allowances to staff. We had a meeting the other week with His Excellency the Governor, and we have agreed we're going to remove all those allowances, and we were going to recover those that were paid irregularly.
Okay. Fine. Now, let's deal with specific things. We have been dealing with global issues. Let's see how you are dealing with ECD teachers and then casuals. Patrick?
Chairman, arising from what that submission by the HR Director, yes,
CEO yes. Public Service Board.
Yes. He has said that they are going to recover what has been irregularly paid. But here you realize that from the report of 23-24, we had, the OAG had raised 27 paragraphs which are outstanding. Out of that, your committee gave 30 recommendations. And Chair, the auditors are saying they have circularized those recommendations to the entity, but they don't have a response. So when he says they are going to implement, Chair, maybe your committee can call upon them to respond to the report of 23-24 early enough before we do the report for 24-25.
Governor, can you confirm that you received from the Auditor General that matrix on Senate recommendations?
We did, Chair, and I think we have a status report on the same. Yes.
But the auditor says that you have not acknowledged receipt. I think it's important and formal to do the acknowledgement so that they know that you are working on the recommendations.
We will, Chair, because we have the report.
Fine. So you guys seem to know what should be done, but you are not doing it. That's a problem. You sound very knowledgeable. You have people who understand what should be done, but the evidence on the paper is different. Let's see how you are treating ECD teachers. Auditor General, you had some non-compliance on payment of salaries to ECD teachers.
Thank you, Chair. Non-compliance to salaries and remuneration guidelines for early childhood development and education teachers. Review of records revealed that 1,317 ECD teachers were paid special salaries amounting to 154 million shillings, 633,647. However, The teachers were not mapped into the correct grading structure based on their qualifications. This was contrary to the SRC circular referenced number SRC/TS/24/6 dated 13th January 2021, which requires ECD teachers to be mapped into the correct grading structure based on their qualifications. Further, the appointment letters outlined earnings broken down into basic salary, house allowance, and commute allowance. However, these were not properly mapped into the HRIS system, and the ECD teachers did not automatically progress according to established salary scales. In the circumstance, management was in breach of the SRC guidelines. Thank you, Chair.
Governor.
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Chair, the approved job evaluation, grading, and remuneration structure for the early childhood development and education teachers. 13 on my response, page 13 of 37. You're there? Okay. So, Honorable Chair, the approved job evaluation, grading, and remuneration structure for early childhood development and education teachers and caregivers, grade C1 through an SRC circular reference number SRC/JE/CG/3/33/6, volume 30 of 10 December 2021, which is attached as Annex 4.1, has now been adopted by the county government of Bomet, that circular, and dated 2nd February 2024, which is also attached as Annex 4.2. The IBBD system and its successor, HRIS, as set up, does not provide for separate job grading model. This means that the job groups in the system is not equivalent and does not tally with the grading used in the scheme for surveys for ECD assistance. However, to ensure that the staff under this code are paid, the management adopted the use of special salary. The management have since been in touch with the Department of Public Service Management for systems intervention that will ensure the staff in question are paid with proper earnings headings. So I will give to my CC to give further clarification.
I think let's first ask the Auditor General whether that response makes sense. Auditor General.
Chair, the issue has not been addressed.
Governor, when you talk of, let's just put this into context, because you have 1,300 ECD teachers. The teachers would have different qualifications. That's what the auditor is saying here. What would be those? Would there be degree holders, diploma holders, certificate holders? Can you explain it for us?
Correct, Chair. We have different categories. We have certificate holders, we have diploma, and we have degree.
They are supposed to be paid differently based on qualification.
As per the advisory that we received from SRC.
So, for example, a degree holder who's an ECD teacher is entitled to how much? What gross salary?
140 minimum.
Okay, as per the SRC.
Get a microphone, and for Hansard purposes, reintroduce yourself.
Okay, thank you. I'm the CC in charge of education. I'm Agnes Ngeno, the CC in charge of education, youth, sports, and vocation training. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Concerning the ECD teachers, we have 1,317. We have those who have the certificate. We also have those who have the diploma, and we also have those who are having the degree. As by the circular that you were given, that is dated 2021, December 2021, we were supposed to pay as by the SRC. And we also received another one that we were given in 2023, which was actually giving us that as by the counties to pay, depending on the availability of funds. As the county government of Bomet, we started paying them last year, 2024. whereby we started paying. We have not actually meet the relevant or the minimum value that is supposed to be paid. But last year we started paying, whereby we have given the certificate, they are earning 16,364. We have the diploma, they are earning 317.
Sorry?
22,000 diploma, 22,317. We have the degree, they are earning 28,024. That is what they are earning last year. But the incremental month is January, so this year, 2026, the certificate will be earning 19,000. We put them in 3 phases so that by the end of beginning 2027, they will be as per what SRC requires us to pay. So in January 2027, a certificate holder will be earning 22,000, which is the minimum as per the SRC.
So the auditor saying is that you have not mapped them into correct grading structure based on their qualifications, but you have explained that you are paying them differently based on qualifications. So where does that put this audit observation?
Okay, thank you, Honorable Chair. The auditor has actually mentioned that one, but we actually have the annex that you are actually, the circular that you are given. We also have the agreement that is, as we started, by the cabinet and agree. So we have also the schedule that we actually draft into 3 phases, whereby we have phase 1, 3,000, phase 2, we have also another 3,000, then phase 3, we have 4,000.
Was it in the evidence?
Maybe let me assist her.
Yes.
The observation that was made the auditors is actually correct, because when you look at the pay slip of an ECD teachers, it's just a figure aggregated into one. But it's expected that they should have house allowance, probably commuter allowance, and the basic salary. But how this system has been configured, when you pay less than the amount that is meant for that job group, how the system will treat it is just aggregate all of it to be one. But when you see the appointment letters, we have segregated into basic, house allowance, and maybe commuter allowance. So because we are underpaying our ECD teachers, that is why we have this problem.
Now, the evidence that we really wanted is even just something just to demonstrate that indeed a graduate ECD teacher in Bomet is earning 28,024, and this is the evidence. And a certificate ECD teacher is earning 16,364. Because when we read this audit finding, it gives the impression that whether it's graduate, diploma, or certificate, they're earning the same pay.
Not true, Chair. In fact, that's why I mentioned earlier on that we have made a lot of improvement. Because when we came in 2018, irrespective of your qualification, the pay was the same. Certificate, diploma, degree. So we were earning around 9,000? 9,000 flat.
9,000.
Irrespective of your qualification. But what we have done, as reported by my CEC, is currently we have 16,000 for certificate, 22,000 for diploma, and 28,000 for degree. And we are doing annual increment. We have 15 teachers degree. 15? Degree, yes, 18. So by January 2027, they will be earning over 40,000. And then for diploma, they will be earning a minimum of 28,000. And then for certificate, they will be earning a minimum of 22. So it's only because we have been constrained by resources. Otherwise, they are entitled to this pay because that is the advisory that we have received from SRC.
Senator Wambua?
Chair, Governor, I think there are 2 questions there. There's a question of a grading structure based on qualification. Yeah? Certificate, diploma, degree. But there's a question of the breakdown of the earnings, whether diploma, certificate, or degree then there's a requirement that you break it down, basic salary, X amount of money, as allowance, X amount of money, commuter, all that. And I think those are the issues that are being queried. Have I received a proper response on that?
Yeah, I think I've responded to that. When you see the appointment letters for these teachers, that segregation is there. And even we have gone up to the people who are in charge of the system and requested, because the teachers have been complaining that they need to see their commuter allowance, they need to see their house allowance. So when we went to the people who are in charge of the system, they told us the problem is because you are underpaying your teachers. So once you're given a job group, your name is loaded to the system. It should be able to generate what you are entitled to based on your job group. Because we have not paid the minimum that is required for that job group, that is why we just have a kind of a lump sum value that is paid monthly to our ECD teachers. Otherwise,
that's okay, Governor.
Yeah,
Then,
yes.
then the other question would be the circular by SRC. Does it suggest a minimum, or it leaves it open-ended?
it suggests a minimum. And also, there is also a line where we've been advised, based on availability of resources, you can start where you can
What's
afford.
the minimum? Because this 16,000 sounds like a minimum, the general minimum wage.
The minimum is 22 for certificate.
Certificate.
And then diploma is 28. Diploma is 30. 20, diploma is 28. And then degree is 34.
You know, Senator Wambua, we are getting something wrong as a society. These are the people who teach the most delicate, the most vulnerable, the most malleable. I look at my little child and I respect the teacher who teaches that boy how to write, how to count, how to speak. But you see, as a society, see how we are treating our ECD teachers. And I know it's not a Bomet problem, it's a societal problem. 28,000 is perhaps below the salaries that some of you pay for your house girls and even for your gardeners. And yet as a society, we have now normalized it, that these people who teach the most special age in humanity, we pay them 16,000. I mean, it's a salute to these people, these 1,300, that they can still report to work every day with this kind of pay. How I wish we could rethink this, and I think we need to have this conversation.
Tell me, just refresh my mind, because did we not develop a scheme of service for ECD teachers?
But you can see that it's still subject to SRC recommendations and subject to availability of funds.
I thought we had ECD bill in
place. We are treating, and this must be a national conversation on how we treat our ECD teachers. The other conversation would be to capitalize the expenditure on ECD teachers. Because I know that's where governors fear, that when they pay more, it increases their wage bill. But surely, of all the functions that are devolved, health, water, roads, for me the most special is early childhood education. Because you get that wrong, those children are lost for the rest of their lives. And that's a sacred duty that has been placed in the hands of governors.
Each year, the consideration for remuneration for ECD teachers, I don't think it would be proper for anybody to reduce it to a conversation about the wage bill. Much as we have to be careful about it, but there are other cadres of staff that earn a lot more and push the wage bills for counties. I want to agree with you, Chair. I think this there is a need for a conversation, a serious conversation, about what counties need to do for ECD teachers. And actually, the entire ECD program. That, you know, I meet governors and people working in county governments who talk about ECD centers. And when you go to visit the things that they call ECD centers, I mean, it's just classrooms. There are no centers at all. We need to begin to focus a lot more on laying a better, stronger foundation for the education of our children.
Chair,
Senator Cherokee?
maybe in fact, I think Bomet is trying, because Nandi is worst in terms of handling ECT teachers. In my own assessment, I think at least we are paying up to 34 for a degree. Nandi is doing half of this, which is a sorry state. Number two, Governor, just for clarity, these 1,370 ECD teachers, are all of them on the permanent and pensionable? Number one. Number two, how do you handle? I've seen you have milk school feeding program through provision of milk. How do you handle to ensure that there is retention and attendance by the children? And number three, in my county, the county government said that they were building ECD centers. But when the governor is opening those ECD centers, it's just a rule. But from the approval by the Nandi County Assembly, they passed a development of ECD center where you have a pollution block, you have a classroom, you have a teacher's quarters, and you have a sleeping area, especially for the young ones. So describe to us. And finally, Chair, what is your opinion as a governor, sitting also in Council of Government? Because I saw a circular by the Ministry of Education through the Principal Secretary of Basic Education requiring to abolish separate diploma training for early childhood development education teachers and merge it with diploma in primary teacher education, DPTE. This circular that was issued by Ministry of Education directing that you need to merge the training of teachers, including the ECD, because to us it is trying to undermine and claw back the issue of devolved functions, because the ECD is a domain of the county government's chair. So I think this issue of, in conclusion, Chair, as a parliament, we must still rethink on this aspect on how we can support our ECD teachers, because I agree with you, these are people who teach, apart from even teaching them to write and read, they teach him even the use of toilet, how to mannerism, how to dress. It's not something. They are more than, in fact, in my own opinion,
we have outsourced our children to ECD teachers.
Yeah, we have outsourced technically. Most of us wake up by 5, you just throw your child into the bus until you see them maybe late in the evening. And they are taught how to be disciplined, how to dress, how to use toilets, chair. I think ECD teachers should be even paid more than us who are in senior public officers, Chair. I think these are conversations that should not end here. Even when you table our recommendations, Chair, please, let's bring to the attention of the Senate so that we can resolve. Our ECD teachers are now left at the mercy of circulars. You can see the Ministry of Education is telling them now, no. Don't train them independently. Can you merge it with teacher training curriculum of primary school teachers? You know, they have just been thrown. You go, your county is paying differently. You come to Nandi is different. You come to Nairobi is different. And the still living standards of Nairobi is totally different from Bomet, from Nandi, from Mutembei. So, Chair, I agree with you that we must have a conversation as a country on the role of our ICD teachers going into the future. So, if the governor answers on my two questions, I yield back.
Answer, Governor. I don't know whether you have numbers. What's the starting salary for a driver in the county? The starting salary for a driver.
Okay, a new driver is employed at job group D. And I think there's a salary of around 25,000.
25,000?
Yes.
The only qualification he has is a driving license?
Yes.
And this person has a certificate, has gone to school, is taking care of the most vulnerable. We are paying them 16,000. I don't know who should be in terms of hierarchy. I think we are getting it wrong. And it's something that the Senate will have to work with the Council and with the relevant government agencies. We must change this perception. I know the Education Committee is carrying out some inquiry at the moment. I don't know whether these are some of the things that are being addressed there.
Yes, Chair, actually, we met some stakeholders from the ECD sector, in addition to the Council of Governor Chair, I believe Chair of Bomet, Governor of Bomet County, on this particular matter.
The gentleman sitting here?
No, sorry. It's not Bomet, sorry, Kericho.
Kericho?
Yes.
Yeah, because he looks surprised.
Yes, on the matter of merging the qualifications for ECD and the pre-primary. And it is a national concern because in our view, we hold the view that is just clawing back on the mandate of governors, and particularly on the mandate of ECD, on the function of ECD. And it's the view of the committee that ECD is a very critical aspect and should not just be left to be merged with whatever qualifications that the PS thinks about. And we have a follow-up meeting, I believe next week, to deliberate more. In fact, the COG is of the view that if the committee is of the view that the PS should withdraw that circular, failure to which the COG goes to court.
But is the committee also addressing the variations in pay across the counties on ECD teachers?
Yes, we are looking into that.
Yeah, we must level up. We must level up. It's unacceptable.
Council, through the chair, just what happened to that scheme of service? Did we pass it for ECD teachers?
Yes, we did pass the scheme of service, but as the governor has said, many a times it's left at the mercy of availability of funds.
Why should that be the case? I'm just wondering. I mean, if it's a scheme of service that has been passed by Parliament, it's like telling me then we have a scheme of service for teachers under TSC, and the TSC decides we'll pay you depending on availability of funds. I mean,
I know their challenge has been that wage bill, because they say they'll come here and we'll bash them on wage bill. But what is spent on an ECD teacher, what is spent on a doctor or a nurse, should never be caught up in this wage bill conversation, because they are delivering very, very essential service. And I don't know, the accountants are here. In terms of classification of expenditure, we might get to a point where we are saying that expenditure on ECD teachers, expenditure on doctors and nurses should not be used to compute wage bill. So that wage bill becomes the secretariat in the county, rather than because it's not, if you go for capacity building, the input is a capacity builder. So that's like a product. If you go to an ECD center, the input is that instructor. It's not the building. I mean, you can't do anything just with the building and the chairs. The instructor must be there. And so the expenditure, going forward, we must find a way of classifying it as development. That way, we can insist that the minimum, as per the grade of service, must be observed. And I'd be happy if we progress this conversation, because I am embarrassed. And yet, Bomet is one of the counties doing well. But the numbers are still very embarrassing.
Chair, let me congratulate you first for that voice. If there is one person who has been very vocal about the welfare of these teachers, as much as I've not done as expected of me, it is Barchok. Because as you have described, Chair, ECD teacher is more than a teacher. He's a legal officer, he's a health professional, because it is through ECD that we make assessments and channel the children, if we have special needs, they are channeled to the right school, I mean the proper school where they can get education. So he is a social worker because sometimes they report to school and the first thing that they tell the teacher in the morning is that they didn't take breakfast or they didn't take supper. And out of the small earnings, the miyaka earnings that the teacher is earning, probably they will purchase kankumu for this child. So I totally agree. In fact, my position has been an ECD teacher should be paid more than a high school teacher. Because high school teacher is dealing with adults. But this one is dealing with young children, and these young children depend 100% on this teacher. So I think I totally agree with your sentiments, Chair, that I think we should start a conversation on this issue. Take care of the welfare of this teacher who is giving foundation to our children. And if we have proper treatment, correct treatment, then you can be sure that your child will be in safe hands. So I totally agree, Chair.
So, Chair, why can then we propose that instead of Governor Bomet having that individual personal concern, why can't you escalate that conversation within your colleagues in COG then we have a meeting, Chair.
It is unfortunate that it came yesterday when the Auditor General and other institutions had already been mobilized, and that made it very, very difficult for us to accede to that request. So I will respectfully, I think we can capture it in our minutes that the request was considered, but the timing of it made it very impractical for us to reschedule the meeting. So I think with that we may proceed. It's unfortunate that the Senator is not able to be with us, but I believe there must be somebody from the Senator's office in the meeting. Clerk? There's someone from the Senator's office? Yes. You just go on record.
Good morning, Chair and members. My name is Minister Mili, Senator Sige's researcher.
Okay, you are welcome. Unfortunately, you cannot comment because you're not a member of the Senate, but it's unfortunate that we will not be having Senator Sigei. We take note of his request, but the timing was not practical for us to change the meeting.
Chair, I know he's not a member of the Senate, but I think he's allowed to sit.
Yes, he's allowed to sit.
There's a seat there. Why are you standing?
We might mistake him for the media. Okay, so members, we can proceed with that. Let's go to the report of the Auditor General, starting with the report on the County Executive. We have spent about 2 hours with the Auditor going through this report, and we have taken a view on a number of issues, which we will not repeat. Governor, the audit has already been done. What we are dealing with is a report akin to an X-ray report or a CT scan. Now we are the doctors to prescribe medication or to prescribe treatment. So we shall not be doing an audit today. We shall just be considering what the auditor, the guy who did the X-ray, we will just be looking at the X-ray results and deciding whether to take you for surgery or to give you an injection or to give you tablets or to give you bed rest. So that's our job today. And if we took that approach, then it could be possible that this meeting can run up to 2 o'clock. We are changing the way we are doing things. We are not going to reopen audit issues, things that have already been established by the Auditor General. We made 3 broad observations about Bomet County. There are 3 things you are doing very badly. 1, financial reporting. 2, human resource management. And 3, revenue collection. Those 3 things you are doing very badly. This report has got 10 issues to do with inaccuracies in financial statements. It has 10 issues to do, actually more than 10 issues, to do with weaknesses in human resource management. And then the receiver of revenue statement has got so many issues relating to systems that are not working, revenue streams that are underperforming. The revenue of Bomet seems to be coming from hospitals and not from productive activities. So I think, broadly speaking, we want to take a global view on those 3 issues. On financial reporting, Auditor General, there are so many inaccuracies in financial statements. These inaccuracies, do they point to loss of funds or they point to professional negligence?
They don't point to loss of funds, Chair.
So if you have 2 pages of inaccuracies, what should the people of Bomet make out of it? Because we must speak a language that the people understand.
Yes.
Unsupported opening balances, inaccuracy of employee costs, inaccuracy of transfers, inaccuracies of receivables, inaccuracy of property, plant and equipment, inadequate disclosure of trade payables, inaccuracy of net assets, inaccuracies in statement of cash flows, inaccuracies in statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts. To that person in Bomet, what is the implication of these inaccuracies? Please help us. You're the one, interpret for us the X-ray results.
It just requires the person who prepares the financial statements to be more responsible and ensure that the balances agree with the schedules and the ledger available.
Chair.
Senator Cheraki?
Chair, I think Meshach, while you are the prosecutor, anyway, we'll take to you to task in camera. Maybe my concern on financial reporting, Governor, is the people who are professionals. And I've had a number of them who are CPA, head of accounts, and others are accountants. You know, when you notice inaccuracies, these are some of the basic errors that even a first-year accounting class student cannot commit. So the question is, do your officers have capacity to do their job, or they have capacity but they don't want to do it, which will become a dereliction of duty? And if they derelict the duty, Governor, then we'll invite the ISPAC to cite them for professional misconduct, because these inaccuracies, Governor, if through the chair, if it had been resolved at the point of audit, we would not be, you have a number of them, I think more than 8, which indicate inaccuracies that this certificate of the OAG report has indicated to. So my only concern is through the chair, maybe later we'll put it to the Governor, whether the officers who are supposed to be doing this job have the capacity and ability. If they have, yes, then they are derelicting the duty, then the committee should pronounce consequences as you have directed.
Senator Wambua, you could go on record. We did the introductions.
Thank you, Chair. My name is Enoch Wambua, Senator, Kitui County, and a member of this committee. Chair, if you allow me, I'll just comment on that inaccuracy. I have just started and gone through, just perused through the document. There are too many inaccuracies, Chair. It can only point to one thing, maybe lack of capacity, or a deliberate attempt by people to do things not right. Because these inaccuracies cannot just be a coincidence. I thank you, Chair.
Governor, do you share our concern?
Chair, before the Governor, sorry to take you back. Now, OAG, you have said it. Report is concerned. And if you clearly say there was no loss of fund, and yet evidences have not been presented to you to confirm that there was no loss of funds, what do you call it? Or how do you term that?
OAG?
Chair, I just talked of these inaccuracies only. I've not addressed the other parts of the report, just on the inaccuracies that we have referred to in the opinion part of the financial statements.
You see, OAG, your report, when I look at it, and even the public, when they look at it, they might expect that this committee is going to carry out surgery without anesthesia on the governor. But then you are telling us that this does not require surgery. This just requires a painkiller.
Then we don't have to be here, Chair. That is a
Yeah,
position.
because this is your report. And you are telling us he patia inaitwa brufen.
The report is...
That he peana brufen, he don't do a surgery.
Chair, the report is made up of 3 components.
No. We are still on the inaccuracies in financial statements.
Yes.
Because that's where the money is. That's where we are seeing numbers.
Yeah.
So hapo tupeane brufen on inaccuracies. Governor, what is your comment on this? Because we can go issue by issue, point by point. That's a surgery that perhaps Kenyans expect.
Thank you, Chair. And from the onset, I want to point out, Chair, that I also share the same concerns with the committee, because This is something that is done by a professional, people who have been trained in that particular area. And we don't expect to have inaccuracies. I've also discussed with my team, of course, there are excuses here and there. Transition from cash to accrual, I think, became a challenge to some of them. And that's why we are training and building their capacity so that we minimize on these errors. But that is not an excuse, Chair. So we'll take it and follow. And if I find somebody culpable, then we'll take administrative action against those fellows.
Governor, you have seen this report before. Were you involved in the audit exercise, the entry meetings, the exit meetings?
I was, Chair.
And you agreed, so if you are involved, and this report came to Nairobi with all these inaccuracies, then I might be convinced by what Senator Wambua is saying, that this could be a deliberate effort to mask pilferage of funds.
Chair, I was actively involved in the entire process of audit. When I also talk to my officers, I'm told there are things that you can change in the books once they have been published, unless correction is done in the subsequent financial year. So if you see our responses, probably that's why our auditor was saying there is no loss of funds, but the way figures have been captured, they were captured wrongly. And I don't want to defend my officers. They should have done it right because they have been trained to do that.
No, we'll have to test some of those inaccuracies for us to confirm whether this is just a bookkeeping problem or there is something bigger underlying it. Senator Wambua.
Chair, my only concern then would be if the governor, and he has gone on record saying that he was involved from beginning to the end, so he is not confronting these statements now. He's seen them. And he's saying he will scrutinize, and if he finds that somebody did not do the right thing, he will take administrative action. I'm wondering, if he was speaking in good faith, he would be telling you, Chair, and this committee, that we went through this, and I realized that on inaccuracy number 5, employee name XYZ was responsible for this, and this is the administrative action that I have taken. Because he's not seeing these documents for the first time.
Yeah, so let's test one or two of these inaccuracies. Let's look at inaccuracy of employee costs. Something where there should never be an inaccuracy. You are paying through the payroll, and the figures in the payroll should tie with the figures in your financial statements. So, Auditor, can you read your finding on employee costs?
Thank you, Chair. Inaccuracy of employee costs. The statement of financial performance, and as disclosed in Note 7 of the financial statements, reflects employee costs amounting to 3,500,681,042 shillings. However, review of the payroll revealed employee costs totaling 3,515,184,562 shillings, resulting in an unexplained variance of 14,503,520. Monthly payroll reconciliations against payroll byproducts to validate the amounts and the number of staff paid were not carried out in the Human Resource Information System. In the circumstance, the accuracy and completeness of the employee costs amounting to 3.5 billion could not be confirmed. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, what's your response?
Thank you, Chair. Honorable Chair, the amounts reported in the Statement of Financial Performance has now been justified by reconciliation of payroll data and payments made as per the notes to the financial statement. A reconciliation of payroll data and the schedule has been carried out and has been availed for audit verification, and this is annexed as Annex 221, that is payroll, ledgers, and reconciliation.
Auditor General, you've looked at that Annex 2.1. As you said, we are not doing the audit today. We are just doing verification.
Yes, Chair.
What is your opinion?
Chair, we've looked at it, and the management didn't amend the financial statements because they could not, so as to address the variance raised.
So what is the true cost?
And there were no monthly payroll reconciliations against payroll by products available for verification. So it's still an ongoing work.
What is the true employee cost? You've reported 3.500, but your payroll indicates 3.515. What is the true cost?
Chair, let me request my CC Finance to respond to that.
Thank you, Chair. The true cost of the employee payments is 3.500,681,041 and 54 cents.
But your payroll indicates 3.515. The payroll should be the source of truth.
That is the reconciled figure. It is 3.500.
How did you go back to reconcile the payroll?
We have the annexes, the schedules.
Auditor General, can you help us understand how that works? Because I believe that the payroll is the primary source of data, which should not be altered. You can alter the financials, but not the payroll. Auditor General, what's the assurance here?
Honorable Chair, what you are saying is the truth. That is the true position. The payroll, the compensation of employees can only be derived from the payroll. And in this case, the payrolls for the period that is under review, July 1st, 2024 to 30th June 2025, clearly indicated, and we broke down the figures to the management of the county, 3,515 million.
So
we still...
See, what other magic is this? You know, Sifuna will start telling you about the numbers that come from polling stations and the numbers that arrive at Bomas.
Chair, let me allow
the polling station numbers is what must apply. And the polling station in this case is a payroll. The numbers can't change at the financial statement. Senator Chirake, as they...
Maybe, Governor, where is, you say, you insist that your payroll is 3.5 billion, but after the audit was 3.515184562. Are there people that are paid outside the IPPD, maybe through impress, that is not on the payroll? Number one. Number two, on this variance, because 3.5 and 3.50 and 3.515, the variance of 14.5 million that has been indicated by the OAG, does it point, or let me just ask a basic question. How many employees do you have in your payroll? And I've seen, maybe Chair will go to that, I've seen it's 48% of the wage bill. How many are in the payroll, the employees? And then explain that clarity, whether there are people who are paid outside the IPPD, maybe through impressed, or what is this variance is bringing about. I yield back.
Senator Wambua?
Chair, maybe if this can be made clearer to the committee, are we talking about the same payroll here? Did the Office of the Auditor General review the same document that you reviewed, Governor? Or perhaps you looked at a different document? Because, Chair, I mean, if we are looking at the same document, I don't see how then we arrive at two different figures. I mean, unless there are two payrolls. How do you look at one document, get 3,500,000,000, and then another person looking at the same document gets 3 billion 515. Do we have two payrolls in Bomet?
Governor, there are the questions asked by Senator Cherargei and Senator Wambua, but what we must agree on is what number, what is our working number?
Now I have my CEO Finance and CEO Public Service able to clarify on the numbers. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. The reconciled figure is 3.5. That is the true figure. If you check next 2.1. 2.1 in our next years. There is a reconciliation provided to yes, to correct the
So, Chief Officer, tell us how you reconcile a payroll. If in the payroll you spend 3.515, how do you reconcile it? Does it mean that some employees refund the 15 million in question?
Chair, we have provided the payroll product that indicates 3.290. In addition, we have supported with the ledgers that also indicates the salary arrears that was paid. If you look at the next year number 2.1, there were also accrued deductions. That is the reconciliation. That makes now the 3.5.
Why wasn't this done when the auditor was looking at these books? Because I've made it clear we are not doing the audit today. The audit is already done. Why wasn't this reconciliation done at that point in time? What is this new information that you received after the audit?
Chair, we have noted inaccuracy, and this can only be corrected on this reconciliation in the next subsequent reporting.
No, it's not about the next period, because you are insisting that the 3.500 in the financial statement is correct. So there's nothing to correct in the financial statement. Are we, Meshach, what is there for them to correct in the financial statements if they insist that it was 3.500?
They've not yet satisfied us in explaining how it was 3.500 and not 3.515, because even if there were those arrears in the previous financial year, they were using cash basis of accounting. So even if there were arrears within the financial year, it would still feature within this as a cost for this particular year.
So, Professor, on a scale of 1 to 10, you have been a teacher. How many marks would you give your finance team on this?
Around 7.
Thank God I was not your student. Thank God I was not your student, because you'll have half-baked graduates. You can't give them 7 on this. You can't exceed 2. In fact, it's 0. It's actually 0 out of 10. Now, let's look at another one where there's an inaccuracy. I know you have not addressed the questions raised by Senator Cherargei.
Before we leave that,
Senator Dula?
now that according to the county, they are actually rejecting the position of OAG, that the figure is 3.500. And the auditors are saying the figures according to their finding is 3.515. Can we say that OAG, we cannot account for this variance? Because we have to look at that also, even if it means that their payroll is 3.500. Can we say there is a loss or an accountability of 14.5?
Well, we just saw it as an attempt to understate the costs, the employee costs, because the amount was actually part of the payroll. The amount was actually part of the payroll, and we've not been told specifically that there was an error in this particular amount and it was refunded. You see, if that was the case.
You're not answering my question. Is there any loss as far as these issues are concerned? Because they are not agreeing with your query. Yeah? So what is the position of the 14.5 million that is in the query?
We don't see a loss in it, Chair.
Well, but if numbers cannot be reconciled, then you cannot make that conclusion. I think it is upon us to, as Senate, to make a conclusion and a recommendation. Patrick?
Chairman, please allow me to say that the reconciliation that was expected by the auditor will have been one that reconciles the figure of 3.5 million and the 3.500681 by the entity, not the one that is trying to justify the figure that is shown in the financial statement. So in this case, then, the response by the client does not answer the question. Because the 14.5 million that is asked by the Honorable Senator brings into doubt how the entity has accounted for the amount. Exactly. We are not able really to determine who was paid this amount of money. Yes, it's there in the payroll, but if they are trying to account for 3.500681, then who was paid the 14.5 million? I think that's the reconciliation that ought to have come into this explanation.
Chair, what the entity is trying to do, and I am not here to cast aspersions on the OAG, but I have my own issues with that. But Chair, what the entity is trying to do, they are setting their own question and answering, giving their own answer. The query.
No wonder they're giving themselves
7%.
Crazy marks.
Yes.
Because it's.
I mean, really, because the query is a variance of 14 million Kenya shillings. But instead of dealing with that variance, they are going back to their figure and trying to justify it. It doesn't work like that, Chair. I know that people have challenges with mathematics, but this is a simple one.
I heard the OAG at some point that says, although I didn't get it right, Meshach, that the entity amended the financial statement, because when you look at note number 10 on employees' costs, it was 3.5 billion Kenya shillings. And then now, during the audit, you found three
low standards. So let's deal with the professor, whose standards could be higher. So with 35 million, I mean, just randomly across, Kinoti, yes, with 35 million, you think that is enough to build a nice, comfortable nest for you and your family? The land has already been provided.
I think so, Chair. I think so.
You think so? Or you need to add a little more?
No.
Chief, where is that chief officer who was eager to give us evidence? Where is he? Yes. If I gave you 35 million shillings to build a residential house, yes, do you think it's enough?
Yeah, more or less, yes.
More? Why are you not certain all of a sudden? You are very confident before.
It depends, but for, a governor is of a different status. So many guests, visitors.
No, but the guests don't sleep there. They just come and eat and leave.
Yeah.
The reason I asked this question is you have paid 35 million for a governor's residence and it's only 45%. What are you building?
Chair, you talked about low and high standards. I would benefit from just brief description of what are you building? What is this that you're building?
Chair,
Chair, before Chalagay says, Chair, don't forget that we were confronted here by another case from a county that I may not divulge, where up to around 120 million Kenya shillings had been paid for a governor's residence, and we are still at the foundation level, So, I mean, what are we building?
What are we building
In
this
addition,
Senator Chireke?
Chair, in fact, Governor, you are paid 35 million for 45% of the works. You engage another contractor, and you had paid 20.6 million. That comes to 55.6 million. And the completion date should have been 17 December 2025. So, Governor, this 55 million that is already paid, what is the scope of works of the governor's residence? Considering, Chair, yesterday or the day before Kwale, we had been confronted for Kwale governor's residence. They were doing it at 210 million Kenya shillings, Governor. You and me are aware of the circular by SRC that the governor's residence should be 45 million, the deputy governor should be 35 million, and the speaker of a county assembly should be 35 million. So this one, if I had, this is, you gave the second contract of 41 million, and you have paid 20 million in addition to 35 million, that's 55.6, that is 56 million already paid. Tell us, this house, have you occupied now? Because in your contract you are saying it's 17 December 2025. And what is the scope of works as Senator Wambua says, so that we can get that? And finally, Chair, what is the justification, Governor, that you have gone beyond the SRC circulation of 45 million for our governor's residence? I yield back, Chair.
Governor.
Thank you, Chair. Maybe starting with the last question from Mheshimiwa Senator Cherargei. We went beyond 45 million that was recommended by SRC, because by the time this communication came, the contract had already been awarded. So it was very difficult to vary from that. And then, Chair, I agree that 5 million is a lot of money, and depending on what you want to construct. And there are also other factors I think the engineer in charge of public works will be able to explain, that construction in Nairobi, construction in our rural areas and different soils can also account for part of differences in terms of the amount that we invest for construction. But that said, Chair, we have not occupied this house. It's now, I think, around 80% done with a new contractor. And I've seen also in our annexures, we have not documented very well, but I have the copies of how the first contractor was terminated and the quantities of work that was still pending by the time we terminated that contractor. So I'll request my engineer public works, Engineer Ngeno, to explain this.
No, it might not be necessary. 78 million. Is there any factory you've built in Bomet since you got into office?
Yes, we have.
For example, which one?
Avocado factory, that's almost done. 100, plus the equipment is 180 million.
180 million?
Yes.
78 million that you have budgeted for this can pay your 1,300 ECD teachers 60,000 each in a year. You know, we started the conversation on how we treat ECD, and we are so passionate about it. But this is where the money is. Instead of allocating money to the useful things, we are allocating that money to monuments and opulence and displays of prestige. And I think, members, we must take a global view on governors' residences. Yesterday, a governor said that they have spent 210 million on the residence, and they still need 50 million more to activate a wing. That cannot be the reason why devolution was brought, for governors to have palaces. And indeed, before you become a governor, Senator Wambua, I have visited your home. I don't know why you would want to go and build a monument at 100 million. A house where, after 10 years, you will vacate. So, we had earlier on said that we are going to do a special report to the Senate. And we are going to call the counties that have gone beyond the ceiling, the 45 million. And we are going to engage Public Works, we are going to engage everybody, including EACC, on this particular matter.
Yeah, allow me to just get a very straight answer from the governor. To your credit, Governor, you sounded very passionate about the warfare of ECD teachers, as you should. In your own considered opinion, is this a priority project? Is it a priority for the people of Bomet?
Chair. Okay.
To be honest, I think with the advent of devolution, I think there was a lot of excitement. And the counties that were supported directly by the national government, for example, to put up offices. And then, in 2013, probably in our mind, when we talked of 47 county governments, and then, of course, one nation. Probably because of that euphoria, we felt like, as governors, we should do this, so that we can be felt that we are also aiding governors. But actually, to respond to Wambua, this should not have been a priority because the other needs, we have hospitals, dispensaries that have not been constructed. And by the way, even if it was to be completed, probably I will not even reside there because I'm living next to Bomet. So, in fact, traveling all the way to Tarakwa will be very far from Bomet. It will be comfortable commuting from my own house. So, there are things that are not priority, and that is why we have this discussion. Personally, my opinion is no, it should not have been a priority.
I put it to you and to other governors that perhaps maybe this is just maybe a special purpose vehicle for other things, not necessarily just constructing governors' residences. Because surely you go to counties that are even unable to feed their own people and they are budgeting for millions of shillings to construct residences. And those residences never get constructed. So it must be a vehicle for other things.
Chair, maybe in addition, maybe Chair, what I can propose is that since this issue of residences, both county governors, deputy county governors, speakers, and the county headquarters, and even county assembly chambers, Chair, we need to do a special inquiry into it. That is the county assembly chambers, the county headquarters, the deputy governor's residence, and governors, including speakers' residence. But now the question is, we know SRC issued a circular that governors should be paid 300,000 house allowance. So even if we don't construct these county residents, they will continue drawing from the circular from the SRC of 300,000, which again doesn't make sense. I thought the wisdom of us and governor, we are not saying county headquarters or county residents are not, we know their role within the devolution. But I thought maybe the framers of the residents were thinking that by the time a resident is complete, there is no need to pay house allowance of 300,000 to governors. Unless, Governor, you are telling us today, from today henceforth, you will convince your colleague in Council of Governors to stop taking 300,000 as per the circular of SRC for house allowance. Then we can see the money will have the value.
Governor, are you drawing 300,000?
No, I wanted to correct that because we also got communication, I think, from SRC that all the governor's residents should have been completed by, I don't have the specific, 2022, there's a month in 2022, and all the house allowances stopped.
So it's not being paid?
I'm not getting any house allowance for the same.
But Tima, you were saying, I don't know whether Kinoti or COB, maybe is the National Treasury here? Or COB?
They could be in the other meeting.
COB, maybe clarity. Is that circular with us?
We are getting
because the last time I checked,
probably what we need to establish is whether the same situation is operating across counties, whether there are governors who are not drawing that allowance.
That allowance of 300,000.
So that's why we said we'll do a special inquiry on this, so that we contextualize and summon all those counties that are above the 45 million threshold.
And perhaps, Chair, also, in the meantime, COB in the requisitions for salaries, because it also goes to them on a monthly basis.
I needed the COB to say something. Do you have a view? You can say something on this 300,000 allowance to governors? Because you are the one who processes those requisitions to your office. Can you say something? With your indulgence, Chair, I know we are pressed for time. Kindly.
Thank you, Chair. You're talking about the 300,000 with the house allowance.
Yeah.
Now, I want to refer to the through the chair. I want to refer to the conversation from the clerk about the issue of the lapsed circular. Now, I actually went back to check about the issue of the lapse, and it was actually the deadline that the governors were given to have constructed their residence is what has lapsed. Now, after June 2022 is when now the payment of those allowance becomes illegal. They should not draw those allowances as house allowance.
Are they requisitioning?
No, they don't requisition. They don't requisition.
Fine, so
Yeah,
we'll establish that in the special inquiry. Let's proceed to Bomet Stadium. I always am amazed when I hear the senator of Bomet complain that Bomet Stadium is incomplete, and yet Mutembei Stadium is complete.
But Raila Odinga Stadium is complete in Mutembei.
Yes, and yet Raila Odinga Stadium is complete. I am always amazed to hear the senator of Kericho complain about the stadium in Kericho, the senator of Bungoma, the senator of Nandi, the senator of Kwale is complete, the senator of Kakamega. I mean, you know, there's all these politics around stadia. And I've thought that if there was to be a political beneficiary, it would have been Bomet. Do you have a stadium in Bomet, Governor?
Thank you, Chair. And the observation by the auditors is actually correct. We have a stadium that is incomplete, and there are a number of challenges that faced the county government of Bomet, and that is why we didn't complete this structure. One, we are having fights with the Bomet University over land, where the land that where this stadium is constructed, 75% of it is falling on their side, so it's actually their land. So, and there was a court case relating to the same, and when it was ruled in favor of Bomet University College then. So, Chair, a lot of money has been invested in that facility, and it is incomplete. But this is public money. Bomet University also is a public entity. And we have had discussions with the administration of Bomet University, and we've agreed that we surrender that facility to Bomet University, and then they will find a way of completing that stadium. For us, as county government of Bomet, we have moved out of Bomet town. We have already purchased 20 acres of land, and I'm informed that tender has been issued by the national government to construct stadium in Bomet. So those are the challenges that we faced. At some point, a section of this stadium...
You have been informed that a tender has been awarded?
It was advertised, yes, and awarded to some company, yes.
Have you transferred that function to the national government? Is it a transfer? Have you transferred your responsibility to the national government?
Of course, we are working closely, Chair, and there's a provision in the Constitution that we can work with the national government.
And subject to Article 187, it
yes.
requires an intergovernmental agreement.
Yes.
Is there any?
We have not signed any
but
at the moment.
Tendering is going on.
It has been done.
I mean, we had a similar situation with Nyandarua yesterday. There's nothing wrong with the national government offering to help, but you must go by the Constitution, what Article 187 requires, an intergovernmental agreement. The 20 acres of land, that is your land.
It's our land.
So when the national government pumps in money for the stadium, who's going to own the asset?
It's the county government of Bomet. But when it comes to financing, an impression is created like it is the national government that is owning it.
Yes, so you need to have an agreement between you and the national government. Where is the county attorney? Because yesterday someone was arguing that that is not a transfer of a function, that's a transfer of a service. What is your professional opinion on that matter of the stadium? Yeah, just reintroduce yourself for record purposes.
Okay, Chair, my name is Langat John. I'm the county attorney. So the issue of stadium, we have the Directorate of the Stadium Management Board, which is tasked with the development of stadium. So the land is allocated by the county government through an intergovernmental participation agreement. So what is to happen is that we shall enter into the agreement under the Article 187 because it's a shared function.
When will you do the IPA? Because that's the right thing to do. Shouldn't the IPA precede the procurement?
Yes.
Has your opinion been sought on this matter as a professional?
Not yet. I remember there was a delegation led by the then Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Abapu Namwamba, and the Director in charge of Sports, Stadium Management Board, who came to the county and they made a report. That is what they decided, that it would be possible to put up a new stadium elsewhere other than the one.
Council, there's nothing wrong with that. All that is all okay. It's all okay.
Yes.
But you're going to end up with a mongrel whose ownership no one is sure of.
Chair.
Senator Ombua.
County Attorney.
Yes.
So did you see that tender that was floated?
Not yet.
So who advertised the tender?
So if you do not see it, but you are aware that the national government is undertaking that project. You're not aware?
I just heard that there was an intention by the national
Where are you
government.
hearing these things from, County Attorney?
Actually,
where are you hearing these things from?
even the governor said he had.
Yes, it was
The governor had something, you had something. Where are you hearing these things from?
recently when there was the award of the charter to the Bomet University.
Where I'm driving at is,
Yes.
is it your responsibility to advise the county government of Bomet on the legality of any project that they undertake?
Yes.
Have you rendered any legal advice on that matter?
Not yet.
So when are you going to do it? I mean, you're saying you have heard that the tender was floated. You heard, right? After hearing, did you also communicate the rumor to the governor that I've heard something? What is this?
Through the chair, you cannot act on a rumor. We've just heard that there is an intention to develop to put up a stadium from scratch by the national government.
So you want us to treat this just as rumor, so we leave it, right? It's just rumor. It's nothing. Nothing is happening.
No, I think what shall be done is to engage the line department.
And just as I'm asking now, then when you heard this rumor and maybe you have realized things are moving, did you write to the governor and tell the governor, you know what, this one, I smell a rat? That's your work, right?
In fact, we have not seen the advert.
Chair, maybe to assist my county attorney, when I got the report, I actually called the CS on the same. But what he communicated to me is that he will invite me, we'll have a discussion, as much as they have identified the contractor. But I think what the chair is proposing and what Senator Wambua is saying, like what we have done in education, we have done also in health, where we signed those IPAs. I think this should be the way. Because if you are not careful,
stop it there, Governor. So you have heard these things, you have been told you'll be called, you've been told a tender has been floated. So what happens if then there is a disagreement in that meeting that you will be called later? If you disagree with national government on this project, when they have already given a tender, what will happen?
I want to believe that there are also clauses for sorting out that, yeah. But I agree with the sentiments that if we are not careful as governors, then we'll end up handing over everything to the national government, and that's what we should guide. In fact, relating to what Senator Cherargei had mentioned about ECD teachers, this termination of diplomas without engagement of the stakeholders, and yet this is a special kind of training. We cannot train an ECD teacher like you are training a primary school teacher. So those are some of the things and conversation. I know we are still young as a country, and probably part of this discussion will assist us to improve, and we need also to take our position as governors supported by senators.
So
Thank you,
Governor,
Chair.
maybe do you have an affordable housing project in Bomet?
We do, Chair.
Who owns the land?
I own the land.
Who owns the
As
asset?
the governor or as
It's the national government.
So in whose balance sheet does that asset appear?
Of course, the national government.
But you own the land.
Yes, and that's why we're having this discussion, Chair.
I hope when you guys retreat as Council of Governors, these are the things you discuss. You are not discussing this committee. You are discussing these issues. Because we are not criticizing the generosity of the presidency and the national government, but we are saying you must do things properly. There's nothing wrong in them building a stadium in Bomet. But if someone comes and builds something on your land, the law violated, it's called trespass, isn't it?
Yes.
So you are allowing yourself to be trespassed, you are allowing yourself to be violated. But that can be cured through the IPA. I think the county attorney knows what needs to be done. And I think what we need to see is proactivity by writing, even to the ministry, that yes, we welcome your decision or you welcome your generosity. However, as per guidance from the Senate, or as per Article 187, we need to set in place an IPA. And it's not a very complicated thing. You've seen for bursaries. It's not a very complicated thing, but have that so that there's clarity. Because at the end of the day, Auditor General, when auditing that stadium, who is the accounting officer? Is it the ministry? Or is it the accounting officer in the county? When auditing affordable housing, who's the accounting officer? Is it the minister, P.S. Singer, or it is the accounting officer in the county?
Yes, for the stadium, it is at the county level.
But the procurement has been done by the national
The payment
government.
is paid by PS Defense.
It has come from the budget of the national government.
Yes, Chairman, that is a big question, and even for us, it's a bigger problem will be when you go now to accounting for these assets. Chair, remember that in the next 1 or 2 years, entities are supposed to recognize these assets on the face of the financial statements. Okay, so when you go to audit a county, who is the owner of this asset? Is it the county? Is it the national government?
It will be like Migingo Island.
Yes, it's
where the water belongs to Kenya.
Yes.
And the land belongs to, they claim it belongs to Uganda.
So, Chair, agree with you. This confusion needs to be sorted immediately.
Chair, maybe benefit from the legal counsel. The legal counsel maybe can benefit from this. Huh? Can the national government invoke the provisions of Article 40 of the Constitution on acquisition of land for public utility from a county government, or that only applies to private land, Article 40? Because then if the national government is saying, then we are taking this land and developing, can they just go in and just take land and say this is for public use?
That is trespass.
They can't.
They cannot.
So
the case of Kenyatta University has demonstrated that I think this constitution, our country is, we have made advances in protection of, or in enforcement of property rights compared to our neighbors. I think in Ethiopia, in Tanzania, the state almost has unfettered access to land. But ours is a classical property right jurisdiction. You know, the title did, because it looks like the only thing we have in this country is land. And so it has been protected. So the national government cannot go and forcefully take over land of the county government, of a university, of a school. It can't. Without following the due
the
process.
governors are willing for their land to be taken over by the national.
They are the ones undressing the
Facilitating
national
it,
government.
Chair, maybe on this Bomet Stadium, Governor, is this the famous Bomet Green Stadium? And number 2, or that's a different one? So this one, Bomet Stadium, how many acres? Because I saw when the Bomet University was receiving a charter, so they went to court, they proved that they own the land. So you see that the land and now you have bought 20 acres. That 20 acres is where the national government, is it through DOD or sports, will come and build the stadium. Number 2, Chair, I think on this issue of counties and national government, there should be a clarity. And I think I agree with you that COG should sit as a COG and make a decision. Because when affordable housing programs are happening, when the stadium has been constructed, when the markets are being constructed, where is in the balance sheet of assets, where will those assets appear? Because, for example, the markets that are being done is done under PS housing. So do you audit the governor or you audit PS housing? When the stadium is being done, do you audit the PS defense or you audit the county? And then when all these, even hospitals, which is okay, the national government can come in and assist. We are not saying as a committee, we are opposed to national government coming and supporting counties. But what we are requesting through you and your colleagues in COG is to sit and agree that when national government comes to supplement, there must be a well-structured legal engagement between national, so that when the national government finishes Bomet Stadium, they hand over to you something that is within the legal framework, because you never know who comes after. And we had a long discussion yesterday. So, Governor, I want to appeal to you and Council of Governors, sit and agree on these issues where national government are coming to do devolved functions as a support, but there is no clarity in terms of legal framework going into the future, Chair. So, as I yield, just discuss this. These are more important issues than discussing Public Accounts Committee or the Senate or any other irrelevancies. I yield back.
You recall Kwale built a market on land belonging to Kenya School of Government in Matuga. And then when they completed building it, KSG said, no, this is our land. So they closed it. And yet public resources had already been put in there. So it sounds far-fetched, but it might come a time when you have a government that is anti-devolution that will come back to claim the assets. They'll come back to claim their assets. And that's why these IPAs, county attorneys, I think you also have your forum. I think there's a time I attended one of your forum. These are the things that should preoccupy your minds, how to protect county assets.
Yes, Chair, I agree with you that the Attorney General should also advise, because he is supposed to advise the national government on legal matters. So, on the issue of, like the example of the stadium, the national government should not apply resources to land which does not belong to the national government before handing over is done in a proper or structured manner.
Do you have a market? Do you also have these, they're called ESP markets?
Yes,
we do.
Who owns the land?
Is the county government.
Who's financing the construction?
The national government.
Who identified the contractor?
It's also the national government.
So it means that when auditing, the auditors will be querying the national government, isn't it?
It's true.
Are you going to include that market as part of your balance sheet?
No.
What about the land?
What about the land?
The land belongs to the county government. And I agree, Chair, I agree, because I think even the national government has been very hard on us. When it comes to their land, they are very mean. we had cases where we have quarreled over land that belongs to the national government. But when it comes to ours, I think we are too generous.
Like right now, Bomet University has kicked you out, isn't it?
True.
Yeah. So why should you be soft? You have just been kicked out by Bomet University. But you are opening the doors for others to take your land. There is nothing wrong in terms of that cooperation, but please have IPS. Yeah, I think that's a message that we have to give. Now, members, it's almost 3 o'clock. Because this is not the audit has already been done. This session is supposed to give the governor an opportunity to clarify anything that might not have been clear in the report. And so far, I think we have dealt with the critical things that we feel pose a fiduciary risk to Bomet County: financial management or mismanagement, human resource management or mismanagement, the issue of pending bills, and the issue of we've touched on a few of the projects. I think there are a number of projects there where we probably just look at the written responses, and we hope that they are done properly so that we can be able to make a fair conclusion. But the issue of ECD teachers, I think that's a matter that should not die. It's a matter that we should carry forward. So in the remaining 3 minutes, we will make our comments on the receiver of revenue statement. We are not going to go issue by issue because we have the written responses. But Governor, we are very disappointed as a committee with your OSR performance. The auditors tell us that your systems are still not working. Where is the receiver of revenue? Who is the receiver of revenue?
Thank you, Chair.
You are the receiver of revenue?
Yes, I'm the receiver of revenue. My name is Thomas Korir.
Where? Yes, just reintroduce yourself.
Thank you, Chair, for this opportunity. My name is Thomas Korir. I'm the receiver of revenue, Bomet County.
So, Thomas Korir, could you tell us what makes up your cess revenue?
Thank you, Chair. Our own source revenue is structured.
No, cess. Cess specifically.
Yes, we have the market produces revenue. We also have the parking fee.
Parking?
Yes,
I'm talking about cess. C-E-S-S, cess.
The cess revenue, you have the market produce cess.
This rope that you tie on the road, because I drive through Bomet to my village, this rope that you tie on the road, whatever you collect there, yes. What is it reported as?
The one you collect on the road is we have the distributors fee for on-source revenue. We actually, out of that, we check a number of streams. We have the one for distributors.
Chair, point of order. Bwana receiver of revenue, Bwana Thomas, do you understand what he says? So that we move fast. You know, today is on a Friday. Na sherehe karibu inaanza. What do you mean? It is
so
what
please,
he says.
Just be direct.
Yes.
So that rope, there's usually some roadblock, Bomet County government. Do they collect money there, or they just check for compliance in those roadblocks?
They do both, Chair.
So whatever they collect in those roadblocks,
yes.
How is it classified?
It is called cess.
It is called cess.
Yes.
So it will be called what kind of cess? Would it be livestock, quarrying, or farm produce? Because that's how you've broken down your cess in your statement.
And that's why, thank you, Chair, that's why I said it comprises, we have the one for livestock, we have the produce, we also have the, basically, I don't know why, in that activity we do, we also have the one for, we check the vehicles, whether they have the permit for distribution.
Fine. Okay, I think let's leave it there. Why did your revenue from sales drop by 1 million?
Thank you, Chair. I think there are quite a number of areas which we had not strengthened. I want to say that in my 2 months stay, we have initiated necessary measures to ensure that we seal the leakages and enhance the on-source revenue.
So you are admitting that it was a result of leakages?
It was a result of leakages, and again,
leakages means money collected but not reported?
Yeah, but not through the system, yes.
So yes, you agree that there were some criminal things that were going on?
They were there, Chair.
And you see, the sad thing is that this is money you're picking from people. You know, sometimes you feel like it's easier to steal money that has come from Nairobi. But this is money that is coming from local livestock farmers, quarry operators, farm producers, pesa ya mashinani.
True, Chair.
So you agree, we can confidently make a conclusion that there was theft of public funds, because you had 4.7 million in 2023-24 and 3.8 million in the subsequent year. That's a drop of 1 million. Governor, are you concerned about that?
I am, Chair, and there are a number of factors, one of which is what you had already mentioned in our previous discussion. Like Chebunya market was closed, and then national government took over for construction of a market. So where we used to collect around 120,000 every market day. So that's a significant amount of money to lose. And yeah, there are also leakages, and I want to admit, Chair, that there are people that are now going through disciplinary measures, around 4 or 5 officers.
Yes, there are 5 officers.
5 officers.
Disciplinary or criminal investigations? Because this is criminal.
Yeah, they are going through, Chair, what we call fraud investigation kind of approach.
If you go down to your report, receive of revenue, parking fees from 9.4 million to 5.8 million. A 4 million, almost 4 million shillings drop in parking fees. How do you explain that?
Thank you, Chair. As I said, we have strengthened, we are strengthening the controls.
Yes, that is what you are doing. But yes, how do you explain a drop in parking fees of almost 4 million Kenya shillings?
Chair, I want to agree that it is not something...
I've paid parking in Bomet. Sometimes I eat at a hotel called Twigs. And sometimes I have to pay parking.
Not like that.
So with the money I pay is being stolen. You are stealing from the chair of the Public Accounts Committee.
Thank you, Chair. I think basically, Chair, I want to just make a small correction. It's not all of it is stolen, but there is laxity in some areas.
And it is not laxity. If you collected 9 million last year, you cannot collect 5 million the following year and call it laxity in collection. There is aggressive collection, but laxity in returns. Governor, does this worry you?
It worries me, but Chair, I will give you an example of Bomet Fastback, where on average, up to around 3 months ago, 2 months actually, we are collecting on average between 3,000 to 8,000. But with the measures that have been put in place, we are now collecting on average 45,000 per day. So the question is, where was this money going to? And that probably that is what the
45,000 per day should yield you 16 million. And yet you're reporting 5 million. So that tells you how much money gets lost.
It's true, Chair.
And again, what have you done about it?
That's why I've mentioned that we have 5 employees that are now undergoing disciplinary measures.
Shouldn't this be the patience of Mr. Kinoti of VSCC?
I agree, Chair.
Okay, you have made our life easy. So, Senator Chirake?
Chair, you know, I come from almost similar region. While in this sense, I expected your Director of Revenue or Receiver of Revenue to say something about TIS as Governor, because we come from the same revenue and most of our revenue also emanates from T. I know there is challenges with T sector, I have noted that there is KTDA circular that in Region 5, Bomet and Kericho of 23 shillings per kilo on the issue of tea, which is undergoing a lot of challenges. But that notwithstanding the fact, where is in your receiver through the chair, where is, do you get thesis? I should have expected something to do with tea.
Yeah, by the way, where can we see your thesis in this report?
Thank you, Chair. We have Empomo's tea farm, and basically we operate that. But for the tea sales, we normally we charge the factories, the KTDA factories. There is a fee for that, for the factories.
How much is it specifically from tea?
It depends on factory individual case basis. But we go by the act. It's actually indicated.
Yeah. So for the year under review, how much came from that particular source? Because you've got an entry here called farm produces. It's 3 million. Of that 3 million, how much was tea?
Now, Chair, maybe just a clarification. Because of the challenges that the tea farmers were facing, we exempted. Like our neighbors who are charging thesis, we are not charging as Bomet, but we charge the factories. But for the local farmers,
yes,
we are not.
Yes. How much is that was charged to the factory?
I think maybe, Chair, just to seek your clarification, we might not be clear on the figures, but
that's why you are the receiver of revenue. That's why you are. And I think when we get to the ROR report as a matter of procedure, I think the ROR should take an oath.
Yeah.
Going forward.
Yeah.
Going forward, because it is the report of the receiver of revenue.
Yeah.
I think it's something we need to do. Because the receiver of revenue is not a small person in a county.
No.
Yes.
Is the head of KRA.
In fact, others have done it into authority and boards.
Yes. So Mr. who?
Korir. Mr. Korir.
Mr. Korir. You are not a small man. So the next time you come here, you'll take the oath, so that you can own this report. And when you say that some people are stealing, it's something that we are saying under oath, and we take it to be the truth and nothing but the truth.
Just small matter on this. And I know the number of factories.
No, Bomet is my neighbor, so you cannot disconnect me from Bomet.
But you only take tea.
Okay. How much of these 3 million came from factories?
Thank you, Chair. I was saying on the specifics, I want to agree with the governor that I think what was critical with our own source revenue is that there are quite a number of areas through the support of the governor which we've addressed. And I want to say that for a start, this financial year 2025-2026, we we have a target of 607,500,000 million. So I want to say with the measures we've put in place, we are addressing a number of these, and I think with your permission, Chair, when we come to the next meeting, when we'll be discussing this financial year 2025-26, we will see a big difference.
No, receiver, I'm disappointed because many of the times I've sat in this chair and Bomet has appeared before us, we have spent a lot of time on revenue. We have spent a lot of time trying to establish a connection between automation and increased collection. In fact, in the past, you have even produced detailed data to show how your revenue streams have been growing before automation and after automation. But what we have here indicates that we are not growing. The growth of 129 million from 238 to 367 is as a result of hospital fees. That growth is because of the 134 million growth in hospital fees. So you're not growing revenue from production.